on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, a property of Learfield Sports.
Touchdown, Alabama!
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Hey Coach is brought to you by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays, built Ford tough. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. And by Coke Zero, real Coke taste, 0 calories. Here is your host, Tom Roberts.
Good evening, everybody. Roll Tide, and welcome to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. We've got a great crowd tonight at Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa as we have homecoming for the #1 team in America. Doesn't that have a nice ring to it? That's Alabama football on this Thursday evening after a huge win over Mississippi State last Saturday. And now it's the Catamounts of Western Carolina who come to town this Saturday. Coach Nick Saban is going to be here in about 30 minutes to talk about the games and to answer your questions. If you're sitting there at home with a question for the coach, give us a call at 877-202-BAMA. Or if you're here at Bob's Victory Grill, find Jessica Weiger, who'll be standing right here at the corner of the bar for questions for the coach. Congratulations in order for Nick Perry, the SEC Defensive Player of the Week, J.K. Scott, the SEC Special Teams Player of the Week, and to Landon Collins, who today was named one of 5 finalists for the Bronco Nagurski Award. We're also going to talk about basketball. Bama men off to a 2-0 start and going to play in about 90 minutes from now. We'll get you to the Coliseum in time for the tip-off against Southern Miss. And we'll talk about the Tide with Chris Stewart on the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline as well. And we'll talk about the Bama women who are headed to Kansas for the Hall of Fame Classic. Alabama volleyball up to 22 wins on the season after a sweep of Georgia on Sunday. Tide takes on Auburn tomorrow night. That takes on a little more significance at this time of the year. And Coach Ed Allen's here to talk about his team. And by the way, the homecoming game on Saturday against Western Carolina brought to you by Hibbett Sports, where you'll find a great selection of game day gear with locations all over the state of Alabama. Hibbett Sports, game tested, athlete approved. The volleyball coach at the University of Alabama is sitting next to me. We'll talk to him coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Jan here, and Toyotathon is on. This year it's so big that I got an intern.
Jan's intern here. Come in for huge deals on new Toyotas. Toyotathon is the biggest event of the year, and it ends January 5th.
No, I say that.
Okay, what do I say?
Can I get your dry cleaning, some coffee, a big piece of cake?
Toyotathon is on. Get 0% APR for 36 months on a new 2015 Toyota Camry. Offer valid November 4th through January 5th, 2015. 0 down with approved credit. Monthly payment for every $1,000 financed is $27.78. Excludes tax, tag, registration, title, and dealer fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
Tide fans, make University Mall part of your football weekend game plan. Avoid the campus traffic. Take the Tuscaloosa Charter Tide Ride from University Mall to Bryant-Denny and back for just $10. While you're here, enjoy great shopping, dining, the area's best selection of Bama fan gear, and special Crimson weekend savings. We're West Alabama's in-place to shop for over 30 years. That's University Mall. Roll Tide.
100 years says a lot about Cooper Tires. It's adjusting to the growing demands of our customers and the roads they drive on. It's a century's worth of innovation delivering the most advanced tires on the market. Case in point, the all-new CS5 Touring Tire, designed for the way real drivers really drive. There's no other tire like it. Come in and see what 100 years of innovation looks like with the all-new CS5 Touring. Cooper Tires, life's a road trip. Come on, let's go.
Hey, Tide fans, when you're getting ready for this week's game, stock up on Golden Flake. Pick up your favorite bag of Golden Flake potato chips, Tostados, or cheese puffs, and you'll be ready to tailgate like a true Tide fan. Golden Flake, the favorite chip of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The best choice you can make is a big bag of Golden Flake.
Nothing means it's game day like ice cold Coke Zero, because zero means it's game day.
What about when...
No.
But you don't even know what I was going to say.
Were you going to say zero means it's game day, so therefore nothing means it's game day like Coke Zero?
No, but...
Then it doesn't matter, does it? The refreshing taste of Coke Zero. Zero means it's game day.
Hey, this is Coach Nick Saban. Like you, Coke Zero is a proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide. So when you're enjoying the game this season, feel free to crack open a Coke Zero and enjoy that too. Roll Tide.
Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. For the best volleyball venue in the country, go to Foster Auditorium. That's where Ed Allen calls home during the volleyball season. Your team got win number 22 last Sunday. Foster is a great place to play in.
No question. We're, I think, 10-1 in there this year,
yep.
And it's a rocket environment. The crowd's on top of you. They're enthusiastic, and we try to give them quite a bit to cheer about.
Well, and it's loud in there, I think. To me, that's the biggest thing is if you're the opponent, it's hard to hear.
The second year when we started building that crowd, Tom, I said to one of my assistants, we're going to have to do something about the noise in here. I can't hardly talk to my team. And they said, Coach, we can't do anything about that noise. That's right. That's right.
Well, you got the win over Georgia, number 22 of the season. Did you think your team played well?
I thought we played really well on both sides of the ball. I think took care of the ball offensively and, did a great job of forcing them to earn their points. And then on the flip side of that, defended extremely well, very aggressive, lots of touches, and held them for, I think their hitting percentage was around 100. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And it was balanced offensively. Had a bunch of folks with kills, including Cat Foster. What else? Cat Hudson,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Cat Hudson. And, I think we had 10 of them with Cat, Crystal, and Brittany all with 10 kills apiece. And then Leah Lawrence, I think, had 6 or 8. And so just tremendous balance there and hit for a high percentage because of that. I mean, anytime that we can spread the wealth out there offensively, it just, I think, makes us all better.
Well, it's good that you're playing very, very well right now because the rival comes to town tomorrow night. The Auburn Tigers coming into Foster, and you swept them over on the Plains. Does that present any problems with getting your players focused this week?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, it's Auburn, right? So
they're
kind of fired up for that deal. But I think a team that's going to come in here and compete hard. I mean, we whipped them pretty good at their place a month ago, and so I've got to believe that we're going to get a strong effort from them.
Well, then you head to Ole Miss on Sunday, and I know that was a disappointment to you when your team lost to the Rebels. Does that give them you a little extra motivation heading to Oxford?
Well, it certainly does me, Tom,
yes.
but I don't get a chance to do a whole lot of serve and pass and digging, which is probably fortunate as well.
That's probably true, yes.
But yes, I think trying to make sure that we come up with that, it was a very disappointing loss in 5 at our place and, didn't play great and still had a chance to win that and gave it away. And so, hopefully we're going to play to our capabilities and go get a team.
Well, one more note, because on Alabama-Auburn football day, you've got a volleyball match, at high noon against Tennessee?
We do, and you're going to recognize, 2 significant seniors for us, Catherine White and Caitlin Bernardin, and should be an exciting atmosphere just prior to the football game. We're going to usher everybody in from the quad and see if we can't get that place filled.
That would work for me all the way around. Well, I hope you'll have a great crowd tomorrow night. It's Girl Scout night as Bama takes on the Auburn Tigers. One other note, you had a pretty good signing day, didn't you?
We did. 3 quality kids that are going to come in and I think challenge right away for playing time, just as we had with 4 freshmen that are playing for us now, and excited about what they're going to bring to the program. Great students, great people, and terrific athletes.
Well, and they're from all over the country, aren't they?
Yeah, we've got Quincy Gary from Indiana, and then we've got. Let me think here. Tabitha Brown out of Houston and Shannon McKeskey out of Houston as well. 2 Texas kids. So
I was going to let you pronounce Shannon's last name before I did. It's M-K-E-S-K-Y.
Spelled Mikesky.
She's a good one, though.
She's very good. A kid that I think is going to be maybe one of the best setters that we've ever had here, and really going to get a chance to pressure a team from that position offensively. Can really get up and use her left hand, and I think generate some things there that we haven't had since I've been here.
Well, all right, go beat Auburn tomorrow night. Ole Miss on Sunday afternoon. Come on back Wednesday. Well, I don't guess you can Wednesday because you're playing on the road next Wednesday night, aren't you?
We're going to be on the road at Missouri next Wednesday, so we'll. Well,
you'll get home in time for Thanksgiving, though.
We will, and we're going to have a nice little Thanksgiving day off and enjoy that together as a team, and get ready for that last one against Tennessee.
Well, all right, go get 2 wins this weekend.
Thanks, Tom.
Ed Allen, head coach of the Alabama volleyball team. Crimson Tide tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Foster Auditorium. Come on by and see the Tide in action. You can download the official Alabama Game Day app and get every digital football game day program free of charge. It's easy. You just search for Alabama Game Day from your app store and update for each and every game. Download it now, the official Alabama Game Day app presented by Adobe DPS, your best way to mobilize the Tide. We'll head to Coleman Coliseum to talk to Chris Stewart coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
Warm fleece on a cool day.
I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
I'm a volunteer at United Way. I'm asking people around the neighborhood what they think this place needs.
Wi-Fi everywhere.
More playgrounds. Oh, more ice cream trucks. I was thinking more money in the pockets of local families come tax time.
Can I change my answer?
I was just kidding about the ice cream.
When it comes to getting better tax refunds into the hands of local families, what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org. Because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Hey, there's my son.
Hey, Dad.
What's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Well, it's just sort of.
Hello, Dad.
Susan? Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and maybe see some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. The Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. Let's talk Alabama basketball. Joining us right now on the Academy Sports and Outdoors Hotline, Chris Stewart, the voice of the basketball Tide. Chris, you getting ready for the third game of the season tonight?
We are, and should be a pretty good one with Southern Miss coming in at 2-0, just like Alabama is. So looking forward to it.
Well, it ought to be a dandy. It starts at 8, and we'll get you there, by the way, if you're listening, in time for the tip-off. Let's talk about the two opening wins. First of all, over Towson, 82-54. And to me, it was great to see Levi Randolph in his senior season, the captain, get off to a great start with 15 points, 10 rebounds.
Yeah, he's played very well in both games and the exhibition win against Montevallo as well. And he's kind of, sparked things. Great kid, great leader, great student. First captain that this program has had since Alonzo G was a senior, and that's been a while. So it's nice to see him step up and respond well in that role. And I think this is going to be a fun season, Tom. I really do. I think it's going to be a great year for Levi personally, and I think for the team as a whole, it's really going to be a good season.
Well, there's veteran talent like Levi and Rodney Cooper, who had 15. But one of the freshmen, Riley Norris, got 10 off the bench in his first career game. And he was impressive, wasn't he?
He really was. He's the son of a coach and a guy who played the game. His dad, Eddie, played at Montevallo and was a really good NAIA player, very tough, very strong and physical. And I think Riley is going to be the same type of player. He can shoot it really well, and he brings some real skills that are needed for this team. And they added some shooters. You see that in 3 games, counting the exhibition, Tom, they've scored in the 80s all 3 games, and the majority of that is defense creating offensive opportunities, which is what Anthony Grant wants to see. And it's in terms of the way they've played, the style of play, it's been a very good start.
And a fun style to watch as well. Second official game, not quite as easy. Western Carolina, you beat them 80-74. Jimmy Taylor must have been incredible. 15 points, 10 rebounds, career highs for him. A first career double-double for Jimmy.
Yeah, he's a guy who's really developing. He was good last year on the defensive end, very raw. Coming out of Greensboro, Alabama, he's played in a smaller classification and was adapting to the speed and the pace, and needed to spend a year with Lou Dean, the strength coach, and he has gotten bigger, he's gotten stronger, he has gotten more skilled on the offensive end. One of the things that I love to see, Tom, is at 6'10" and a wingspan that seems to stretch from one end of the court to the other. He, when he gets the ball in the low post, he's ready to not just try and score, he's really attacking the rim. And with that, he's either going to score or he's going to get fouled. And we've seen him improve a little bit at the free throw line. The shot looks better there, but really can be a factor on the defensive end. But I think maybe a lot more of an impact on the offensive end than we saw a year ago.
Well, in that game also, you got your first real look at another inside player, Michael Kesson. He must have looked pretty good in the few minutes he got to play.
He did. He got in a little foul trouble in the first half, which limited what Coach Grant was able to do in terms of his playing time. But he's a guy that I think brings, again, we talk about skill set, and it's something in the post that we just haven't seen. He's very athletic, is really capable of scoring the basketball, but I think he's going to be a very, very good rebounder as well, which this roster will need. There aren't many big guys, many post guys. But Kessons, I think, has a chance to be really special in the Southeastern Conference as he comes back from sports hernia surgery and gets back into rhythm. And I think this is a big game for him to maybe take another step in that direction before we really get going in Kansas City next week.
With the lack of the big inside presence, that makes a guy like Ricky Tarrant even more important. He came off the bench for 18 the other night. I think everybody's been kind of waiting anxiously to see him in action. He's the real deal, isn't he?
He is. We found that out the hard way. The saying usually is you can't beat him, join him. Well, in this case, if you can't beat him, get him to join you. He actually came in with Tulane 2 years ago, and they beat Alabama, and he's a Pleasant Grove kid that did want to come back closer to home, thankfully, and he was a two-time All-Conference USA pick, was the freshman of the year in that league in his rookie year, and just brings some, even though it's his first year to actually hit the floor, he brings some college experience and Division I experience, and having been around the system for a year, having to sit out last year, he understands what Anthony Grant is looking for, and I think he is going to be a tremendous player. We're starting to see signs of that. He's another one like Michael, like Retno Basan. It's been kind of working through some injuries, but as he gets into playing shape, is going to have a chance to make a major impact.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a fun year all the way around. Bama basketball tonight at Southern Miss. The Golden Eagles come in off a pretty good season last year, so we'll look forward to hearing you call all the action along with Brian Pasick starting a few minutes after 8 o'clock. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Chris Stewart, the voice of Alabama basketball, and as we said, Crimson Tide taking on Southern Mississippi, and he'll be on the air right after we finish Hey Coach and the Nick Saban show on this evening. Quick reminder from our friends at Best Western Hotels, it's a great place for you to stay throughout the state of Alabama. You can also win gift cards from Best Western as well. Just go to bestwestern.com/Alabama. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Do game day right. With LG, it's all possible. LG home appliances are right in step with your busy world. The largest capacity washer in its class saves you up to 20 minutes per load, even on larger loads. LG's door-and-door refrigerators offer instant access to gotta-have snacks. And with LG Easy Clean, you've got a sparkling oven in minutes. Come check out the latest in LG innovations at your local Best Buy or online at bestbuy.com/LG.
The tide will be rolling soon, but if you haven't gotten your Bama Banking Visa check card, you're not really ready for kickoff. Bama Banking, exclusively from BBVA Compass, is the perfect way to show your pride in the Tide. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama. Bama builds champions. At BBVA Compass, you can be a champion too by sporting one of our limited edition Bama Banking check cards. Sign up for Bama Banking and show your pride every time you use your check card. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama.
Excuse me, sir. What's the best day of your life?
My wedding day.
Where would you rank going to the November 29th Alabama-Auburn game?
Whoa, are you serious?
Yeah, you and a guest would get 2 game tickets, VIP hospitality, pre-game sideline passes, and more, courtesy of your local Ford dealer.
Best day ever!
Just go to alabamasaturdays.com and enter the Rammer Jammer fan experience.
Oh, I hope my wife wasn't listening.
Must be 18 years or older with a valid Alabama driver's license to enter. For details and complete rules, visit alabamasaturdays.com.
Ready for this week's game? We're talking the rumbling roar of Big Al and another epic Roll Tide. But we're also talking great pizza. As a proud sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Red Baron Pizza is kicking off your game day at tailgateatyourplace.com. Score big with awesome party ideas, winning recipes, and impressive school trivia. Plus, a chance to win over $150,000 in prizes. Red Baron, Roll Tide.
Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Hey, buddy! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go.
Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Cold hard fact. When it comes to Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light, remember, 21 means 21. Coors Light reminds you, with great beer comes great responsibility.
Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. Take a look at our Cooper Tire Performance of the Week. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Visit CooperTire.com to find your local Cooper Tires dealer. The head coach, Nick Saban, and his staff selected 9 players of the week following the win over Mississippi State. Most of them coming on defense: Eddie Jackson, Nick Perry, DJ Petway. Then on special teams, Landon Collins, Rashawn Evans, Dylan Lee, and J.K. Scott. And the offensive honorees were Jalston Fowler and T.J. Yeldon. As we told you, 2 of those men went on to win SEC honors. The Landon Collins Nick Perry named the Defensive Player of the Week in the league, and J.K. Scott the Special Teams Player of the Week in the SEC. Now let's take a look at some Crimson Tide tailgate tradition brought to you by Red Baron Pizza. One of the great traditions at the University of Alabama is we've had some great families down through the years. One of them certainly the Good brothers from Town Creek. And we're going to have 3 of them back this weekend to be honorary captains for the Western Carolina game. Chris Good, a defensive back for the Tide during the Ray Perkins era, the oldest of the Good brothers, excelled for the Tide during the 80s, went on to play for the Indianapolis Colts for 7 years. One of the most talented running backs we've ever had was Kerry Good. Averaged nearly 7 yards a carry as a true freshman. Had that devastating knee injury in the opener in '84 against Boston College. Came back, though, and completed his career in '87. Drafted by Tampa Bay and played with the Bucks and the Miami Dolphins. And the third of the Good brothers who will be here this weekend, Pierre, who forever etched his name in crimson with that great 90-yard touchdown reception and sprint against Tennessee in 1987. So, Chris, Kerry, and Pierre will be with us on Saturday as the honorary captains. They'll be in a tent right out front of the stadium to sign autographs beginning at about 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. This Crimson Tide tailgate tradition brought to you by Red Baron Pizza. Visit tailgateatyourplace.com for great game day ideas and enter for a chance to win $150,000 in prizes from Red Baron. We're going to talk to our media guest coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama is the authorized dealer for Toyota forklifts, the world's #1 forklift manufacturer right here in the USA. Toyota Materials Handling has short and long-term rentals available ranging from 3 to 36,000 pounds, and they provide parts and service for any model forklift. Ask Toyota Materials Handling about their no hidden fees guarantee and service loaner program. Call Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama today and speak with their consultants. Call toll-free 866-957-2250 or go online to toyotamaterials.com.
For every 4 skilled tradesmen who retire from the construction industry, only 1 person is entering an apprenticeship program to take their place. So if you're interested in making a good living by working with your hands, a career in construction and a nice salary are squarely within your reach. Go Build Alabama is committed to educating young minds about the opportunities that come from mastering a skilled trade. To learn more, register at gobuildalabama.com today. Go Build Alabama and Roll Tide.
Looking for the ultimate tire for your performance luxury touring vehicle? Look no further than the new Ventus S1 Noble 2 from Hankook Tire. Packed with the latest design and compounding elements focused on maximizing efficient water evacuation, providing impressive wet handling and braking, increasing cornering grip, and improving winter condition traction. The Ventus S1 Noble 2 is the ideal balance of all-season and ultra-high performance. To see more of the Ventus S1 Noble 2, visit A&A Sales in Huntsville. Be one with it. Hankook Tires.
As your Alpha Insurance agent, I can help you customize a plan that'll save you money while still protecting your family.
Saving $10, $15, $20 a month makes a big difference for families.
We're able to give you a better product for a better price with better service.
I try to give the customers the kind of service that I want myself.
That has value. You can't get that online.
We have a great product, a great claim service, and it's a real value buy.
For the best agents in the business, call Alpha.
Welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. The Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. Our media guest for this week, we're delighted to welcome to the stage right now from WVUA Television here in Tuscaloosa, Sports Director Gary Harris. How you doing?
Very well, Tom, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, and I know it's a pleasure for you to be here, especially this week, because you spent a number of years down in Meridian, and I imagine you had some friends down there who were Mississippi State fans, and so you got to gloat a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, they've been a little quiet. Although, you know, honestly, I think they were still excited to have that opportunity to be in a game like that. You know, Alabama fans kind of get to take them for granted. There's so many big games every year. For Mississippi State, it was foreign territory a little bit, and I think they're proud of the way their Bulldogs fought back there at the end and made it a competitive game, and then they stayed in the top 4 of the playoff rankings. So, you know, I guess they gauge their program a little differently. I hate to say they were happy with a loss, but they were content.
They weren't exactly dissatisfied.
They weren't.
I think you're right. Well, the playoff selection committee comes out with its top 4. Alabama, Oregon, Florida State, and Mississippi State. A surprise to you?
Tom, for me, not really. Yeah. I mean, I did it on paper myself, like we all do, and I thought Alabama would be number 1, just based on the fact that I think they were waiting to see the Alabama-Mississippi State game. Yeah. You beat undefeated number 1, and in my opinion, it was kind of natural that Alabama took that slot. I thought Florida State might be ahead of Oregon at 2 and 3 reversed, and I felt like Mississippi State, based on their body of work, would stay at number 4. Now we know it can still change a lot,
certainly it can.
But I think they got it right.
Well, you got some good questions for the coach?
I hope so.
Well, all right. Just relax a minute or so while we pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Our first call every week brought to you by Alabama 811, reminding you to call 811 before you dig. Know what's below and have those underground utilities marked. One free call before you dig, and utility companies will locate and mark the buried line. So call 811. We're going to talk to Nick Saban next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6, I make his breakfast. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6, I make his breakfast. At 7, I shower. Every day I wake up
For those caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Okay, so 5
5 tacos of cheese and a large soda. That's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's me, your heart. High blood pressure is serious, and if you think I'm just gonna keep ticking away, you're wrong. I can quit whenever I want, but I like my job. Just treat me better. Maybe we can do some exercise on occasion? After all, we're in this together.
Don't let your heart quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
This year, firefighters will battle thousands of wildfires around the country in hopes of containing them. But a single ember that escapes can travel more than 1 mile, where it can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Prepare, protect, prevail. Get fire adapted. Learn simple steps you could take now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is the Nick Saban Show. Presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Also brought to you by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays. Built Ford tough. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. And by Coke Zero. Real Coke taste, 0 calories. Now, with Coach Nick Saban, here's Tom Roberts.
Well, welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill, and joining us on the stage, head coach of the Crimson Tide, Nick Saban. Coach, congratulations, an incredible victory by your football team over Mississippi State last Saturday.
Well, it was a tough game, and our players did a great job. Did a great job of competing in the game and making plays when they had to make them, and I was really proud of them. It was a great crowd. I think the energy and enthusiasm in the stadium was fabulous and certainly affected our players in a positive way. And, somebody sent me today a letter, the letter that Coach Bryant sent to the team before 1979. Wow. One of the players. And it was a fabulous letter. I mean, it really was. And it talked about, if this were the first day of the rest of your life, what would you do? Yeah. And you can choose to be ordinary, or you can choose to be something special. And another statement he made in there is, the saddest word is, if I had only. I mean, everybody probably already heard all this stuff, but it's kind of new to me.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, it was fabulous. It was really, really fabulous. And it's a lot like that with our players right now. Are we trying to win a game now, or are we trying to be champions? I mean, there's a big difference in that because we need to play to a standard. We need to improve. We need to keep doing things better. Obviously, a lot of things that we can do better, a lot of things that we do well, but a lot of things that we can do better. And when we play the better teams, those things are going to be really important.
Only 12 games in a regular season. This is one of them coming up on Saturday. All right, our media guest tonight, Gary Harris from WVUA. Gary, you got a question for the coach?
I do. Coach, I want to ask you kind of about the dynamic of your coaching staff. You have 4 former Division I head coaches on your staff, which isn't the norm when you look around college football. What advantages are there for you having that many guys that have worn the headset of the head coach on the staff?
Well, you guys you media guys always throw me these curveballs because I didn't know we had 4 guys on our staff that were head coaches, so I'd have to think about that, I guess. Lane's been.
Yeah. Bobby Williams.
Mario
Cristobal. Kevin Steele.
And Kevin Steele. Well, all those guys are really, really good coaches, and I think every one of them has done a great job of being a very good assistant. Sometimes when you become a head coach and you have your own program, it's hard for you to go back to being an assistant. I was the head coach at the University of Toledo, and then I went to work for Bill Belichick at the Cleveland Browns. And, the hardest transition was, okay, I'm used to doing everything the way we were going to do it in our program, and now you got to go back and do it the way somebody else wants to do it, and that's a difficult transition. Now, Bill Belichick had a great formula for success, and I learned a lot from him, so it was a great experience. But all these guys have done a fabulous job of buying into what we do, trying to do it the right way, and they've done a really good job for us. But I don't think it creates any problems at all. You know, a lot of those guys have worked for me before, so it was easy to, you know, bring them on the staff, and I knew them all from before. So, you know, our staff has done a really good job with our players this year. I really do believe that. Probably the staff doesn't get enough credit, you know, for a lot of the things that happen. I mean, sometimes everybody talks about the head coach and the players, but, you know, our assistant coaches have done a fantastic job with our players in their groups as well as in their units with our coordinators.
All right, Gary, if you think of a follow-up to a question somebody asked, just feel free to jump in.
I will. Thank you, Tom.
We're going to go to the best seat in the house, and we've got usually only 4 people. Tonight we have 5, and I'm going to ask the gentleman who has the microphone there to pick up the mic and kind of introduce everybody, including the youngest one.
Yes, sir. So my name is Bryant. My wife, Paigelyn. Our newborn son, Luke. He was a month old yesterday.
Wow.
Yes, sir. My father, Harry, and my mother, Betty. So we made the trip over the last 3 days from Iowa City, Iowa, so he could meet them for the first time.
Wow. Wonderful.
So, yes.
Fantastic. Great.
Well, thanks. So we're excited because we have 3 generations here at the table. And so we thought it'd be a neat experience to be able to tell him about this later. But obviously, he's not going to remember much from tonight. So my question would be, Coach Saban, now what advice would you give the little guy here for being successful as he grows up, being successful in life and everything that he does?
Well, first of all, you know, I'm going to give you some advice. All right? Don't do what I did in terms of being married to a job. All right? And, you know, your job is kind of your way of life. And one of the things that I sort of regret a little bit is, you know, probably the busiest I was trying to be successful in my career was when our kids were little, you know, Nicholas and Kristen. And when I was at Toledo, they were really young. And when I was working for Bill Belichick at the Cleveland Browns, they were really young. And it was really hard on Terry, and I was never home. In fact, there were times when I was at the Browns in 1993, we played 3 games on the West Coast. Bill always wanted to leave on Friday. The only time I saw the kids were on Friday, and I would go 11 days living in the same house with my 2 kids and never see them.
Never see them.
So my advice to you is don't get the kind of job I got. That would be number 1. Always spend time. And as grandparents, we're grandparents for the first time now and have been for almost a year. That's the most wonderful experience you could ever have. And for the youngster, I would tell him the same thing as I tell our players, you know, have a vision for what you want to do, which is not possible when you're 1 month old, but, you know, stick to the process of what you got to do to be successful, and have the kind of personal discipline to make the right choices and decisions so that you don't have a lot of negative consequences to go with, you know, the things that you want to try to accomplish. And I think that's one of the most difficult things to get people to do, is to be able to execute, you know, the process on a consistent basis. We go through that with our players, and it's a challenge for your children. But I would say that being positive with your children and not trying to relate things to your life experience is really going to be important, because I always said, you know, when I grew up, this happened. They can't relate to that. Not in this generation, not in this day and age. I would say don't give them too much internet, all right, and don't let them play too many video games.
Well, enjoy the weekend here in Tuscaloosa. Be careful on the way home. And take care of Luke. Looks like a good one there. All right, our Alabama 811 first call is always Pee Wee. And for the 2nd week in a row, Coach, Pee Wee from Grand Bay is here with us. Pee Wee, you're getting a good hand from the crowd. Roll Tide.
Well, Pee Wee, now that you started something, you were here last week. You know, I'm a little superstitious, so you better be here every week.
I'll do the best I can, but since we had such a good game last week, I figured I'd follow it up this week.
That's good. We appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate everything you do for us, Coach. The question I wanted to ask was, you know, Marcus Luttrell spoke to the team last week. I had the opportunity today to watch the video, or at least what they put online, of what he said, and it was a pretty powerful message. I was wondering how much carryover that had from last week going forward into this week for the players and the team. What did they take away from that, and what have they applied that this week?
Well, I think the biggest thing that, our players probably got, and Marcus didn't actually speak to the team. He said hello to the team. He had done many speeches before, so we took the video, 6 or 7 minutes of it, and our players had also seen the movie, Lone Survivor, as a team last year. And Marcus was there, and we actually honored him, as a veteran and someone who had sacrificed a lot in terms of the commitment that he made to the things that he did, so that we could all have the freedom that we have. And some of the things that he said, and I think the most powerful things, were that he would never give up, he would never quit at anything that he would do. And one of the most powerful statements was when he thought he was about gone, he made the statement that, let's do this. I'm going to do this. He was the only one left. And then to make a commitment, and being paralyzed, to take a rock and draw a line 3 feet ahead of him and keep crawling for 3 feet until he went 7 miles over like 3 mountains, is really, you're talking about a real strong mental toughness and perseverance about what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do. And it really makes everybody feel like, man, I could do so much more. I give in so easy to so many things. And I think the biggest thing in that message is he didn't give in to anything. And if you're a Navy SEAL, you're going to have to kill me. And that was basically it. Or, he was going to persevere, and that's exactly what he did. And the movie and the video, really sort of demonstrated that. So then he spoke to the guys for just a minute, but just to say hello. But really, our players were really honoring him for their respect that they had for what he had done, what he had accomplished, and what he had sacrificed for all of us.
Another story of mental toughness and perseverance. An 11-year-old guy named Fuller Goldsmith, who lives here in Tuscaloosa, had a bone marrow transplant yesterday. And I bring him up, and we want to give him a shout-out right now, hoping that he'll do well. Yesterday was Wear Red for Fuller Day. One of your players, and this is what I love about your players getting involved, Kenyon Drake, tweeted him a picture, Kenyon wearing all red, and I guess it was appropriate because Fuller gave Kenyon a courage bracelet after his injury. But to me, that's one of the great things about your players.
Well, and, I wore red yesterday, too, because, Scott and his family are close to us, and Fuller comes to practice a lot, and C.J. Mosley and him were like tight as a drum, those two guys. And, Fuller's had a lot of rough times here over the last few years, and, our players have really kind of tried to support him every way that they can. And I'm really proud of what our players do to try to support people in the community. We try to set a good example for that, but, a lot of our guys do a lot of good things for other people.
Well, and you mentioned C.J. Mosley. He's having a great rookie year in the NFL, isn't he?
Yeah, he sure is. Ozzie was at the game last week, so I had to throw a few zingers at Ozzie about drafting him.
All right, we're to our first commercial break in the show. Back with more questions for Coach Saban in a moment. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Game day brings out the best in all of us. Leadership, teamwork, tradition, spirit. These are the things we love about college athletics. They're also the values that drive the associates at Regions Bank to bring you the products, advice, and financial guidance you need to move life forward. Because at Regions, every day is game day. Regions, official bank of the SEC. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Jan here and Toyotathon is on. This year it's so big that I got an intern.
Jan's intern here. Come in for huge deals on new Toyotas. Toyotathon is the biggest event of the year and it ends January 5th.
No, I say that.
Okay, what do I say?
Can I get your dry cleaning, some coffee, a big piece of cake?
Toyotathon is on. Get 0% APR for 36 months on a new 2015 Toyota Camry. Offer valid November 4th through January 5th, 2015. Zero down with approved credit. Monthly payment for every $1,000 financed is $27.78. Excludes tax, tag, registration, title, and dealer fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
You're listening to Guy Talk live from the Sport Clips Haircuts locker room. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, boxers or briefs?
Speaking briefly, boxers. Unless you're a boxer, then I go briefs. Next caller.
I want to find my nearest Sport Clips.
but I don't want to ask for directions.
Use SportClips.com. It's actually guy approved. At Sport Clips, you'll get an awesome MVP haircut experience while watching sports on TV. Your head'll glow like a freshly mowed Major League outfield. This has been Guy Talk, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy.
Bud Light and NFL fans, this is the legend of Gail Hammerschmidt, who once tailgated 34 straight games, even grilling out in torrential downpours, and who could run a 4.440 to the mini fridge for an ice-cold Bud Light. But there are many legends like Gail, and Bud Light's rewarding them with experiences like an ultimate NFL weekend. Bud Light, the perfect beer for whatever happens.
Ultimate NFL experience open to U.S. residents 21 plus. No purchase necessary. Ends 12/31/14. See upforwhatever.com for details. Void where prohibited. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
2 wides to the left and 1 to the right. Here's the snap. He looks left. He throws. Cooper, touchdown! Amari Cooper over top of Jay Hughes. Not only was that a great catch, but a magnificent throw by the young quarterback out of Gainesville, Georgia. 4 yards. Touchdown, Alabama.
Eli Gold with the call, Alabama's first touchdown in the victory over Mississippi State. Welcome back to Hey Coach and the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha Insurance. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill. Gary Harris, our media guest. And Gary, the season that Amari's having, one of 10 semifinalists now for the Biletnikoff Award, 1,303 yards, 87 catches, 11 touchdowns. An amazing year.
Absolutely, and if he continues to play like this to finish it out time, I'll be shocked if he is not Alabama's first Biletnikoff Award winner.
He should be. You're exactly right.
He's deserving and has had, you think about the great receivers that have come through here going back, a long time ago. Of course, Don Hudson, arguably the greatest receiver of all time, David Bailey, Ozzie Newsome, but, Julio Jones. But right now, you could argue that he's, not just statistically, but in just terms of being a playmaker, he's as good as we've ever had here.
As good as we've ever had, and he owns the career record right now in receiving yards and in touchdowns, and he needs only 4 catches to break the career reception record. I dare say he'll get 4 catches before this one's over.
The thing, Tom, that I like about him is when you watch him, some receivers, they're working. He's working too, but it doesn't look like he's working. No, it doesn't. He just kind of glides. Even when he's leaving a defender behind, he's running easy, and everybody else is, you can just see how much effort they're putting into it. It's almost like he's on jets.
That's exactly right. And he's such a quiet kid, too. Doesn't have much to say. Is short and to the point when you try to interview him. Coach Saban back on the stage with us. We're talking about Amari. Is he a quiet guy as a leader?
Well, but in a good way.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk a lot. I'm sure he talks to his friends, but he listens well, and he does probably as good a job as anybody on our team or anybody we've had in the program in terms of being a good worker and setting a good example for others. And I don't think we've ever had an issue with him since he's been here in terms of him ever coming to my office for not doing the right thing. You talk about a fine young man, goes to class, does what he's supposed to do. Really tries to get it right, and I just think he's a little bit shy when it comes to talking to people that he doesn't know, but other than that, you couldn't ask for a better person.
Gary, you got a question for the coach.
Coach, you talk often about consistency and performance being a key to success, for players to get better, each team every year doing that, but consistency and performance in terms of a program. We see teams have a big year, compete for a championship, then inevitably they come back and they have a poor year. Since 2008, Alabama's played meaningful games into November every season. You've won 81 games since 2008. Talk about the consistency and performance of a program and how difficult it is, and what do you attribute the success you've had here at Alabama to?
Well, I think first of all, the players and the coaches in the program probably deserve the most credit, and I think that the players that we have and their buy-in to what we do, and it's actually helped that, first of all, we get good players because I think we have a good program, and the program is geared toward creating value for the players. It's not just about winning games. We have a lot of personal development programs. We have a great history of academic success, with our players' graduation, how we support them and all those things. We have a career development program and, a First and 10 club that does a lot about helping guys get started in their career. So I think we get the right kind of guys to start with because of the kind of program that we have. There's a lot of structure in it. But secondly, those players buy in. And we've always had good players you know, in the upper classes, you know, who have done a really good job of, you know, sort of teaching the younger players, you know, that, hey, this works. You know, this program that we do works. It's hard. It's not necessarily easy. But if you want to have success and you want to be all you can be, this is what you need to do. And there's a process that's kind of laid out here. And, you know, if you really want to graduate from school, be a good person, and have a chance to be the best football player you can be, have a lot of team success as a college player, and maybe have a chance to develop a career as a player, there's been a lot of people in front of you that have had success, and they've all sort of done it the same way, and they all kind of buy in it the same way. So, you know, and we've always had good players, and we've always had really good coaches that have helped to develop those players. And we've always done it with, I think, a pretty high standard in terms of expectation, but also with a lot of character, you know, involved in how we do it. You know, our players don't talk to the other players. We don't have a lot of issues and problems from that standpoint. And you know, I'm really proud of that. And I'm proud of every player and all that he's done to make the program what it has been. And we've had a lot of really good coaches, too. So it is difficult because when people have success, and I've talked about this many times before, you know, they don't always want to, you know, there's a little bit of relief syndrome. You know, I'm sort of entitled now to getting some time off, or I should get a break. But I think our players sort of understand that, and we've had some ups and downs when we've had those kind of attitudes, and they kind of see that and they learn from it. But, you know, like this year's team, you know, pretty committed group. Now, we haven't always consistently played on the field as well as I would like for them to. But the one thing that they have is they have great competitive character and always able to make plays when they need to make them in the game. They play together, they play hard, and I think they believe they can, which, you know, there's a lot of talented teams that don't have that. So that's a good thing. And nobody questions, you know, sort of what we do and how we do it. And the players always have had input in the program, and we've made changes through the years that I think have helped them have a better chance to be successful.
And one other reason has been very successful, the head coach, the leadership of Nick Saban. Let's go on the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline to Cincinnati, where Matt's on the line. Roll Tide, Matt, how are you?
Roll Tide to you, Tom. And, Coach Saban, I hope you're staying a whole lot warmer than I am here in Cincinnati, Stephen.
I'm sorry?
I said I hope you're staying a whole lot warmer in Tuscaloosa compared to where I'm at in Cincinnati this season.
Well, it's been cold here now. It warmed up a little bit today to get to about 60, but we've been below freezing here, and actually it was too cold to practice outside on Tuesday, and we went out there yesterday, and it was cold, and it reminded me of being in Cincinnati. You know, the coldest game I ever played in was in Cincinnati. When I coached at the Houston Oilers, and it was 88 or 89, and Boomer was playing quarterback, and they had Brooks and Holman and, you know, all these guys, and they had a really good team. We had a really good team, too, with Warren Moon and all that. We played, it was either the day before or the day after Christmas. It was 25 below zero wind chill.
Oh, my God.
In Cincinnati. I never wore hunting boots in my life, and I had hunting boots on for the game. And I was in the press box.
Oh. Yeah. But anyway, get to my question. On the player personnel level, is there any major challenges?
Is what?
Getting my question, on the player personnel level, is there any major challenges that you have getting your players fired up to this game with Western Carolina compared to next week with Auburn?
Well, you know, I think that, you know, when you say fired up, I think there's only so many times that players really get fired up. And I really think that, you know, the approach that we try to use with the players is, you know, we need to play to a standard. We need to improve. We're trying to take advantage of an opportunity that we've created for ourselves by what we've done to this point. So we want to look forward and make sure that we're doing everything that we can to take advantage of this opportunity. So it really isn't about who you play as much as it is about what do you want to do with the opportunity that you've created for yourself, and then what are you willing to do? What sacrifices are you willing to make? How hard are you willing to work and focus and keep your focus? I think that's one of the most important things at this time of the year is that your team keeps focus. You know, because focus is a lot like momentum. You know, once you lose it, it's hard to get it back. And, you know, we don't want to lose it regardless of who we're playing. Certainly don't want to lose it this week. And so I think the competitive character that you have, the overall attitude of trying to be successful is much more important than trying to get fired up, all right? Because fired up is all about emotion, all right? But we're going to play with consistency because, you know, we want to be a good team. And it shouldn't be the quality of the other team, although this is a good little team that we're playing. They've won 7 games this year. They beat Citadel, Furman, and some pretty good teams in their division. They've got a really good little quarterback. So we respect our opponent. I don't mean to sound that way, all right? But I also think that it's more about what we want to accomplish. What I said earlier, are we just trying to win a game, or are we trying to be champions? And that's in everything that you do. So if we do that and we play to a standard, you know, the game will take care of itself.
All right, we got a bunch of fans here, including a sharp-looking lady standing right there with a microphone. Tell us who you are, what's your question?
My name's Glenda with Alpha Insurance, and my question is, do you think the day off on Monday rejuvenated us for after 2 physical games?
Well, I think it helped a lot. You know, the players seem to have a lot more energy, you know, after that. You know, I kind of look at things long term. You know, I don't like for the players to ever play 6 games in a row where we don't have at least 2 days off. Sometimes the schedule creates the opportunities for you. Like we had 4 games in a bye week this year, 4 games in a bye week. But if you look down the road, and if we can take advantage of the opportunity, we'd have had 5 games in a row. All right, and 4 of those 5 games were very, very physical, tough games. I mean, 2 of them we played, and we got a couple more coming up. All right, so I thought it was really important that our players get those 2 days off, because 2 days off does 10 times more good than 1 day. Not just twice as much, 10 times more, especially at this time of the season. And I don't think you want to have a tired team. And that's one of the hardest things to manage at this time of the year with individual players. And, you know, I've talked about this before. We use the catapult system now where it's like having a GPS on a guy. You know exactly how hard he works. You know what his baseline is for how explosive he is. And you know when he starts to lose that based on how many miles he goes, what his endurance level is. So sometimes we take individual players and cut back on how many reps they get in practice, all right, so that we don't wear our team out. But physical games like we've had, and one of the things that, you know, because people don't understand this, and I haven't even ever been asked about it, but one of the facts is we're playing more plays on defense now because we're a fastball offense team. All right, so even though our time of possession has been pretty equal to the other team, we're playing more plays in that time than what we have in the past. Like we played 88 plays in the last game. All right, and we've gone over 80 plays a couple times. This is on defense. All right, so the way we used to play when we were in a huddle, we only averaged 65 plays in a game on offense. Now we average a lot more than that on offense in less time. And the defense ends up playing more plays because of that. So when you have this kind of team, it does have a greater wear and tear on your team. And you got to try to manage the workload each week so that you don't get a tired team. But one of the things that we've always done here, I've always thought, is we've actually gotten stronger in November and played better. And last year was the first time we did not finish the season for a long time in a positive way in terms of how we got better. Even if we got beat in the SEC championship game, we played well, and our team was fresh. So that's important that we keep doing that, and I think every team is a little bit different. But our players have never complained about any of those things so far this year.
Glenda, thanks for the question. Come up here and claim this banner from Banner Stadium. Check them out online at bannerstadium.com. We're at the half hour. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network. This Saturday's Alabama-Western Carolina game brought to you by Hibbett Sports. With locations all over the great state of Alabama, Hibbett is a proud sponsor of Alabama athletics and your Bama Gear headquarters this holiday season. Visit your nearby Hibbett Sports today. Game tested, athlete approved. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Hey, Alabama fans, Academy Sports and Outdoors is the place to go when you need the gear to support your team. Academy is your one-stop shop for Crimson Tide jerseys, t-shirts, caps, novelty items, and more at everyday low prices. Be sure to visit your local Academy store or academy.com to stock up on Crimson Tide gear for the season. Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The right stuff, the low price, every day. Academy.
On game day, whether it's on the field or at the tailgate, the best rise to the top. Because when the Crimson Tide are driving to victory, there's no compromise. That's why Ford delivers available EcoBoost engine technology that offers a winning combination of power and efficiency. Just another reason why Ford is America's best-selling brand. Check out F-150, Fusion, Escape, and the all-new Expedition at your local Ford dealer. America's best-selling brand based on 2013 calendar year sales.
Attention business owners, just in time for the holidays and the new year, the official Alabama Crimson Tide wall calendar is ready. It's the ultimate Bama wall calendar, your favorite team displayed in action-packed photographs with your company's logo and custom message. It's the only way to have your company's message in front of your customers for 365 days of the Crimson Tide. Minimum order, 500 calendars for $1,500. To order your Crimson Tide wall calendar, call Cameron Burdick at 205-348-9613.
100 years says a lot about Cooper Tires. It's adjusting to the growing demands of our customers and the roads they drive on. It's a century's worth of innovation delivering the most advanced tires on the market. Case in point, the all-new CS5 Touring tire, designed for the way real drivers really drive. There's no other tire like it. Come in and see what 100 years of innovation looks like with the all-new CS5 Touring. Cooper Tires, life's a road trip. Come on, let's go.
Bulldogs showing blitz. They pick it up. Sims has to escape the pocket. He'll roll here. He's hustling. He's to the 40. He's to the 35. He's up the near sideline to the 30, to the 29. First down, Alabama. Oh, my goodness. What field awareness for Blake Sims.
Oh, my goodness. Exactly right. Eli Gold calling one of the three great third down plays that Blake Sims made on that winning drive against Mississippi State on Saturday. Welcome back to the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha Insurance. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. Gary Harris on stage with us as our media guest from WVUA. And to me, the plays that Blake made on that drive were just sensational.
Tom, us media types, we're allowed to have favorite players, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, on defense, it's Landon Collins,
yes,
my sports intern. And on offense, it's Blake Sims.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you talk about stick-to-itiveness. I mean, the guy defines it. I mean, several position changes, hung in here, bided his time, backup quarterback, and then this year with a chance to win the job. And nobody associated with the program, I'm not saying, but fans and media types like us counting him out. You never heard a negative word. He wins the job. He then establishes himself not only as a starting quarterback, but an all-conference type quarterback. Yep. And as you said, his ability to extend plays, as Coach Saban talks about, you want him to go through his progressions. You want him to be a quarterback first. But there are times when everything else breaks down that he can just make you a play like he did at LSU, like he did against Mississippi State, and help you win a ball game. I love the kid.
And he handles himself with so much humility. If after the game you ask him about his great play, he's always going to say, well, our defense was doing a good job. They gave us the ball back. The offensive line did a nice job in front of me. He's just one of the more humble kind of guys.
Most of us are good at deflecting criticism from ourselves. He's great at deflecting praise.
Yes.
He doesn't want to accept it. You're right. Every time I've asked him a question about Blake Sims, he said, well, my center, Kelly.
Yeah.
My wide receiver, Cooper. My running back, Yeldon. He never wants to take credit. And yet he's hard on himself, too. I've seen him a couple of times say, well, we should have done this in this situation, and we didn't get it done, and it's my fault. And to me, that's true leadership. He's not asking to be a leader. He's just doing it by example.
Coach Saban, we're sitting here talking about Blake Sims. He's one of our favorites. I would think he's one of your favorites, too.
Well, Blake's done a fabulous job for us. I mean, over the 5 years that he's been here, the improvement that he's made, really cares about his teammates, really cares about the team, really has worked really, really hard to develop into the kind of player that he is now. I mean, there was a long time around here, even last spring, where you heard a lot of people say that I'm not sure this guy could ever be our quarterback, and he has done a phenomenal job, this year. I think, our coaching staff and Lane has done a really good job with him, to help him do the things that he does well. But he's done a really good job of executing, and he actually does the best when he plays within the system. Mm-hmm. Even though, people see him, ad-lib and make plays on scrambles and extending plays in the pocket, which you never want to take his ability to do that away. But when he executes the offense, he does a fantastic job, and then his ability to do that really is a weapon for us.
A quick question from the Nick Saban Show blog at AL.com that relates to Blake. Bruce in Duluth, Georgia says that Blake's mobility has been a tremendous asset, but have you had any discussion with him about tucking the ball when he takes off from the pocket?
Yeah, we have discussions about it about every time he does it. But, just one of those things. I think, when you're talking about a player that does what he does, and probably most scrambling quarterbacks, they sort of do that on instinct.
Yeah.
All right, so you're really trying to break an instinct with a guy. It's not how we want him to keep two hands on the ball. When he decides to run, we want him to put the ball away so that he doesn't have one hand on the ball and really enhances the chance of somebody knocking it out of his hand. So those are things that fundamentally we're trying to coach all the time, with him. But it's very difficult for a guy that has the kind of instincts that he has. And when he's running around a lot of times, he's looking to throw the ball. All right, so it's just, I'm shaking my head here because I wish we could get it right. But we also don't want to inhibit what he's doing to get him to do it right. So it's kind of a little bit of a catch-22 for us.
Gary, you got a question?
Yeah, I'm going to change gears on Coach. Miss Terry, along with Lynn Brooks, have been the mainstays of our WVUA homecoming parade coverage for several years now. We'll be again on Saturday at 10:30, so tune in live. I know you don't get to watch it live on Saturday when you're getting prepared for a football game, but have you had a chance to see any DVD copies and critique her performance and give her pointers the way I know she does you pretty often?
About the parade?
Well, just about being on television.
Well, I know that Terry does a great job. I don't need to critique her. So, I haven't seen the parade. I wish I could. I wish I had time. I appreciate the fact that she does, those kinds of things. And, it's good for our involvement in the community and what we want to try to do to help the school. But I just never, ever watched it.
I'll get you a DVD this year. I'll get you a copy.
We've got a fan standing at the corner of the bar who want to ask a question. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Hey, Coach. My name is Dr. Howard Robinson from Columbia, South Carolina. I want you to know I've read your book, How Good You Want to Be, and I think it's terrific. The question I have for you is, I know you're from West Virginia, and that West Virginia is the birthplace of 5 coaches that have won national championships. And I
didn't know that either.
That's right. And I wonder if there's something in the water, or is it, I know they weren't making Little Debbie's when Fielding Yost won his first national championship. And if you have any ideas.
Well, that's interesting. I know that Jimbo Fisher is from right down the road from where I grew up. It'd be interesting. Who are those 5 coaches?
Well, the 5 coaches are Fielding Yost, yourself, John McKay, Jimbo Fisher, and Lou Holtz, and Charles Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, well, I knew about Lou Holtz. I knew about John McKay because John McKay is from Shinston, which is really 6 miles from where my dad's service station was. And Jimbo grew up around Clarksburg, which is about 20 miles, from where I grew up. So. And Lou Holtz is from up around East Liverpool, which is in the northern panhandle of West Virginia. So those I knew. The others I didn't, but that's interesting. I can't tell you, other than where I grew up, there wasn't a whole lot else to do. So maybe that had something to do with our commitment because we didn't have a lot of choices, but the people were beautiful. The people were wonderful. Where I grew up in a coal mining town, Carolina, every person in that town, there were 7 rows of houses in Boss's Row, and then the coal mine was on the other side of the tracks. Every person knew every person in that town. And if you took apples off of Miss Grindo's tree, my grandma Saban knew it before I got home. I mean, that's how fast it traveled, and it wasn't all by telephone either, I can tell you that. So I don't know, maybe having the unique opportunity to grow up in that kind of environment where hard work, good people, doing the right things, caring for other people, maybe some of those things have something to do with being able to grow and being successful. And I had really good parents and a lot of good people that, good coaches when I was growing up and a lot of good mentors. So I was very fortunate to have a great childhood.
Thanks for the question. Let's go to the Academy Sports and Outdoors Hotline. We're going to Greenville and a Bama legend who goes by the name of Colin, but everybody knows him as Big C. Roll Tide, Big C. How are you?
All right, Tom. Hey, Coach. How y'all doing tonight?
Good, Big C. What's going on,
Good.
man?
Not much. Keeping up with the team. How y'all doing this year? Doing a great job. The question I want to ask you, right, playing Western Carolina, and I know I'm trying to be, I know they're a good team, but I mean, with the talent level we got, and all that, games hopefully will be in the second quarter or sooner. We can be able to start playing more people. The question I want to ask you is, I know you'll play Jacob Coker, but do you feel like there might be an opportunity for Alec Marsh to get in some playing time Saturday also? Or what would it take for him to have the opportunity to be able to play some on Saturday?
Well, first of all, Alex has done a really, really good job for us all year long. He's a very bright guy. He's made a tremendous amount of improvement as a player, and we have confidence that he can play and do a good job for us if he needs to play. And we would love to have the opportunity to play him in this game. And, I'm hopeful that, even though we have a lot of respect for the team that we're playing, they're a spread offense. They go fast. That they have a lot of, run-pass option-type plays, which their quarterback is very athletic and does a really good job with. This is a much better team than we played 2 years ago. The coach there has done a really good job over the 3-year period to get better players and do a better job with those players. So they've gone from 2 wins to 7 wins this year. So, we have every respect for the people that we're playing. But if we play to the standard that we'd like to play to, hopefully that will create an opportunity for a lot of players to get a chance to play in this game, which we haven't had as many opportunities to do that this year as we have in the past, because we played in a lot more close games, especially since early in the season, where we have had very little opportunity to play other players. So hopefully this will be a game that we can play well in, execute well, get off to a really good start, and have an opportunity to play some other players in this game.
All right, we got one more segment with questions for the coach. That'll come up right after we take this final break. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
I'm in the car next to you on the highway. I sit in front of you on the bus. I'm 1 out of every 6 Americans, and I'm struggling with hunger. This isn't an uncontrollable epidemic. There's enough food in this country to feed every hungry person. Please, visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for those around you, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, parents of children with asthma, here's another hit from the Breathe Easies.
Come on and clean up the mold. Whoa. Clean up the mold. Whoa. Mold can trigger asthma in kids young and old. Come on and clean up the mold. Whoa. Clean up the mold in your house. Whoa.
This song may be fun, but childhood asthma is not. Preventing asthma attacks can be as simple as cleaning up the mold and mildew in your house. For more Breathe Easy tips to help stop asthma attacks, go to noattacks.org. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave, but remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Sims shotgun. 2nd and goal from the 8. Handoff Yeldon. Cuts right. He's to the 5. He's going to go! Touchdown! Alabama!
T.J. Yeldon with a touchdown that sealed the victory over Mississippi State last Saturday at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. And we're live at Bob's Victory Grill. Our media guest from WVUA here in Tuscaloosa, Gary Harris. And Gary, T.J., a great game. 72 yards on 16 carries and a touchdown. There are times this year where he's looked like the TJ that we've seen in the past.
He's kind of had to gut it out, hasn't
Yeah,
he, Tom?
uh-huh.
You know, the ankle and playing through pain and having his carries limited a little bit, but on that big drive that you alluded to, Alabama pretty much did it running the football. And, hadn't run it great all day, but on that drive to clinch the game, he came up big. Henry had some nice carries. Of course, Blake, we mentioned extending the drive, but that touchdown, he seems to have that ability to kind of pace himself. And then when he's got to turn it up a notch, he can do it. He's a special player.
You mentioned that on defense, your favorite player is the same as mine, Landon Collins. The Lott Impact Trophy Star of the Week, 3rd interception of the season. He just plays with reckless abandon. I love to see him go.
Absolutely. I mean, he'll, knock your block off.
Yeah.
But he's also good in coverage. He's improved in coverage. He told me this summer when he was interning with me that was his goal, was not to be seen just as a big lick guy, a guy that can bring it, but that also can handle himself in man-to-man and zone coverages, and I think he's improved on that a lot, and it's going to help his draft stock, which is probably right around the corner.
Yes, which is way up there already. We talked about how Amari Cooper is kind of quiet. Landon's anything but quiet. He loves to talk and has a great time, I think.
He's gregarious. He's outgoing. He says what's on his mind, but just a really likable young man. He's genuine, and the enthusiasm that he shows is not contrived at all. It's just who he is as a person, and a lot of fun to be around. I loved having him this summer.
7 total tackles against Mississippi State. Well, Coach Nick Saban back on stage with us. We got another fan here at Bob's Victory Grill who wants to ask a question. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Sharon Alexander from Irondale, Alabama.
Sharon, how are you?
You commented last week about the last touchdown drive being one of the greatest in Alabama history. In your opinion, what are the things that make a drive a great drive?
Well, I think that, players' ability to execute and do things extremely well in the critical time, most critical time in the game. And I think that, when you're behind and you got to go 2 minutes to tie a game up like we did there and then play in overtime and do a really good job in overtime, I think for players to be able to overcome all the adversity of playing on the road, playing in a tough place to play, and then be able to execute in crunch time that way, is really what makes it a great drive. But I also made the statement, last week when, we needed to score when the score was 19-13. We put together a great drive offensively. Blake made a couple great 3rd down scrambles. So, that was a big drive too. So I think when you play in these big games, every drive is critical. And whether you stop them on defense or you do a good job of, moving the ball offensively and putting points on the board when you need it most, I think that's what makes great drives and guys' ability to execute and not just making a big play. We scored early in the game on a big play, down to the 1 yard line. Well, I'm talking about converting 3rd downs, and really putting 8, 10, 12 plays together with good execution so you can score. Those things are critical in critical situations, and for players to be able to come through and play their best in those kind of circumstances, I think speaks a lot about, the kind of competitive character they have.
All right, Gary Harris, you get the last question for the coach tonight.
Well, Coach, December graduation just a few weeks away, and Alabama's graduating college football players on par with any university in the country. And I know as a coach, you want to build them as football players, have them have success on the field. They all want to play in the NFL. Very few are. From a coaching standpoint, how rewarding is it when a guy comes to school, especially maybe those that didn't do so well high school-wise academically, they get a degree, they don't play in the league, but they go on, they get a good job, they have a family, they're a credit to their community. The student part of being a student athlete, how much does that mean to you?
Well, I think it means probably as much as anything, all right, because it's the most important thing a player does when he goes to college. You know, these guys love playing athletics. They all want to play in the NFL. They all want to win a championship. So that part they're motivated to do. But, you know, that career is only going to last a limited amount of time, whether it just lasts in college or it lasts a few years in the NFL, or even if they have an extended NFL career. All right? But the thing that's going to affect the quality of their life more than anything else is the day they graduate. All right? And that's something that we really try to sell to our players. And to a lot of our players, they're first generation guys going to college in their family. So not only does it change their life, it really kind of changes the legacy of their lineage, because if they graduate from school, their kids are going to graduate from school. So, you know, it's going to really improve, you know, a lot of things, you know, for them and their future, because it kind of creates a standard. You know, Terry and I were both first generation in our families going to college, and, you know, but there was never any doubt that our kids would go to college, and they both went, they both graduated. So, and I think that's the kind of thing that we really get excited about when we, you know, see our players be able to do that, and they can go on and be very successful. And, you know, the other thing that I really enjoy about, you know, our players, when they finish their careers and they graduate, I love it when they want to come back. You know, and one of the things that our players do is every guy that plays in the NFL, when they have a bye, Marcel Darius was here last week. I mean, C.J. Mosley was here last week. They all want to come back, which tells me they had a great experience here. They have a lot of good friends here. The traditions of this institution, this place, and the people are something they want to continue to be associated with. And I think that's what makes tradition great.
Gary Harris, thanks for being with us tonight. Coach, the final word presented by Mercedes-Benz.
You know, a lot of people have been asking me, and I was kind of hoping somebody would ask me tonight, because I finally figured out the answer to the question. You know, because I've been asked a few times, you know, what motivates you?
Yeah. Several times.
Several times. But nobody asked me tonight, but I figured it out. After that last game, you know what it is? I want to see if we can do it. I want to see if this team can do it. It doesn't really matter about the last team or the team 5 years ago or 2009, 10, 11. I mean, I want to see if this team can do it. And that's really what I hope that all of you would like to see too. And that your energy and your enthusiasm for wanting them to do it based on what they've accomplished and the opportunity that they've created for themselves to this point is what motivates you to support them, to be enthusiastic, regardless of who you're playing. Come to the game on Saturday, create a great atmosphere in the stadium, and because we don't want to lose momentum, we don't want to lose focus, but we're all motivated by the fact that we want to see if we can do it. You want to see it as a player, you want to see it as a fan, I want to see it as a coach, and we're all going to do the best we can to do that. So everybody do their part to support these guys and see if we can do it.
Sounds like a great idea. Coach, thanks for being here. Roll Tide. We're going to come back, wrap things up in just a moment. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again. But just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
Who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag? It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really, really need in an emergency.
Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
I know.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Okay, kids, who remembers where we're all going to meet in case of an emergency?
Grand Central Station.
Times Square.
Higher ground.
Where's that?
The mountain, son.
But we live in the city.
Good point.
What about supplies?
Your mom has all those canned beets somewhere in the apartment.
What about water?
We have a few gallons stored in the basement.
We don't have a basement.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent, 1 in 260,000. The odds of him having 15 career NASCAR victories, 1 in 1.7 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism, 1 in 68. I'm Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. It's kind of like an elephant is on my chest. I feel like I'm choking. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Be the hero of your tailgate this season. Go to eatatjacks.com to place your order for the ultimate fan fuel. Get your team ready for the big game with Jack's delicious hand-breaded chicken fingers, fried chicken, sides, biscuits, and more. Jack's now a proud partner of the Crimson Tide. Now let's talk about Sport Clips. You're a guy, and when you need a haircut, you need it right now. So come on in, because at Sport Clips, you never need an appointment. Visit any of our Alabama stores and ask for the MVP service. Sport Clips, it's good to be a guy.
The Learfield Sports Directors Cup honors the nation's best overall collegiate athletic program in each division, men's and women's sports. The prestigious award continues its reign as the crowning achievement in college athletics, noting the remarkable efforts of student athletes and their institutions. To follow your favorite team, like us on Facebook. Find us in USA Today, online, and on Twitter at LS Directors Cup. Over 2 decades of excellence, the Learfield Sports Directors Cup.
Well, that does it for this edition of Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. But we got some busy days ahead here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, starting in just a few minutes from now, as the Bama men take on the Golden Eagles of Southern Mississippi. Tomorrow night at 5:55, Bama women are at Kansas. Roger Hoover will have the call on that one. Saturday at noon, of course, homecoming against Western Carolina. Noon is the airtime for our broadcast. And the Bama women taking on Georgetown at 6:25 Saturday. That'll be on WTSK. Then the women on the full network Sunday at 11:25 as they take on Temple. Then next Monday night, the Bama men against Iowa State at 7:30. Then on Tuesday at 5 or 7:30, the men versus Maryland or Arizona State. So a lot to do, including next Wednesday. We'll be right here for Hey Coach of the Nick Saban Show, our special Thanksgiving edition. So thanks to all of you for joining us tonight, to everybody associated with the program, and from all of us. Roll Tide, everybody.
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this has been Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Also brought to you by Coke Zero. Real Coke taste, 0 calories. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays, built Ford tough. And by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. The preceding has been a presentation of the Crimson Tide Sports Network, a property of Learfield Sports.